Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Run Bum Blanton, race director for the Georgia Death Race 2013. We're really excited. We're here on location, on the trail, right here at the Benton MacKaye Trail and Georgia 60. This is Point Bravo, about 25 miles into the race. Just want to talk to you guys for a moment about our mandatory gear and just give you guys maybe an idea of what you might want to buy, what you might need to pick up. One of the things we're going to have at first, we're going to be starting in obviously at 4 a.m. It'll be pitch black. You need a headlamp. My personal favorite right here is the Petzl NAO, the Petzl Now. I really like this. On boost mode, it's 350 lumens. The one thing you really want to make sure during the race, above all else, is that you have a very bright lamp and you have extra batteries. If you use like a road lamp, you won't be able to see much. You'll go slower, it'll be harder, you'll work harder. Ipso facto, it'll increases your chances to DNF. The one thing you also want to remember is that 90% of you will start in the dark and finish in the dark, meaning that you don't need a light just for the first 3 hours of the race, you need it for the entire race. We're making it mandatory that you carry a headlamp with you at all times. Yes, I know this seems silly, but if you drop your headlamp at the first or second aid station and forget to put one in your drop bag, we will not have one for you. So make sure you put that in your kit and you get a good headlamp. Next thing I want to talk to you about is safety blanket. Space blanket, same thing, all right? There's a couple different levels of these. There's just basic rolled up, you know, kind of silver looking thing that looks like something you put in like some NASA thing or something like that. Anyways, these are anywhere from $4 to $20. They're really not expensive. They come in these nice packages. Don't take them out because they're already compressed down. They don't take up a lot of room and they weigh about nothing. The other part of our mandatory gear I'm going to talk about is we have a waterproof, windproof jacket. Now, first of all, this is a windproof jacket. This is that very thin material. These jackets are great, but they do not keep you warm if you're not moving and it gets wet. All right, these are great again for wind. Might be something I recommend to carry with you. You can fold them up, you can wrap them around your waist, no problem. But again, this is not what we're looking for. This will not suffice for the mandatory gear. What I'm talking about here is I'm talking about right here we have Quechua brand, which is French. You won't find it over here. These right here, you can see that the jacket is seam sealed. It's still not a very heavy jacket. It's got some pockets, whatever, but it is clearly waterproof and windproof. The reason for this being is when you guys get up here on these ridges back here, especially during the dark, it's going to be very cold, it's going to be very windy, and if it's raining, you can get hypothermic like that. The temperature change between the start at Vogel State Park and the top of our first climb, Coosa Bald, varies incredibly. We've had, I myself have experienced temperature changes between 20, 25 degrees difference from the bottom to the top. It's always windy on Duncan Ridge without fail. So make sure you have the proper gear for that. The other thing we want to talk about too is obviously a warm hat, a beanie. Again, race day, I've told folks at the pre-race meeting we will make the call whether or not you have to have some of the mandatory minimum gear, which is going to be a warm hat, warm gloves. So that's the reasoning for that, is to keep you guys safe. All right, thank you. The history of the Georgia Death Race is plain and simple. A good friend of mine, Brad Goodridge, who is also slightly insane, came up to me one time with an idea, said, hey, let's run from, Vogel State Park to Amicalola, ha ha ha, it'll be funny. Well, long story short, we decided to put on a race, and I've kind of run with the idea, and now all of a sudden we've sold out the race. Apparently other people are just as sick as we are. I'm really interested to see the weather here in North Georgia is unpredictable at best, especially in March, the middle of March. You can be 2 feet of snow up here. It could be 75, 80 degrees, and you could be out here sweating and dying of heat stroke. So it's very unpredictable. The mountains, you never know what to expect up here. There's wild animals. I see black bears. I see a wild boar, turkey, deer, bobcats, everything. I've seen it all up here, you name it. And that's what this race is about. It's about man versus elements, man versus North Georgia mountains. And I think people who've never run up here and who laugh and say that, hey, the South, man, or East Coast, they don't have mountains, you're in for like a rude awakening. Just the Duncan Ridge Trail itself, it's the only trail I've ever been on in the world. And I've run in the Alps, the Himalayas, Canadian Rockies, Coastal Range in British Columbia, Rockies, West Coast, everywhere. And I've never experienced a trail like the Duncan Ridge Trail that goes peak to gap, peak to gap, peak to gap. There's no flat on it. The Benton MacKaye is a little bit gentler, but the first 38 miles, there's really not any flat on it. It's just constant up and down. There's no recovery, and if you're not used to that, game over.